Hey everybody, this is Mad Matt Carter. Thank you so much for watching the AIWF Network YouTube channel as well as the AIWF Ringside Wrestling channel. If you like what you see, please do us a big favor. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, and ring that bell to get notifications every time we post new videos on both our channels. It means a lot to us, and thanks a lot for watching once again.
Wrestling fans, promoters, wrestlers, and anyone who enjoys pro wrestling now have something new to be excited about. The Wrestling Fans International Association, the WFIA, is back. WFIA is an association that exists to promote, grow, and support professional wrestling throughout the world. Membership is free. Your membership includes a free digital bi-monthly publication of the Wrestling Fan News newsletter, association updates, voting privileges, and much more. Please go to thewfia.org, that's THEWFIA.org, and become a member today. Attention WFIA members, the virtual 2024 WFI convention will be this fall from September 13th through September 15th, 2024. Scheduled to appear are the world's strongest man, Ken Patera, the world's most dangerous announcer, Gary Michael Capetta, Bill Apter, and just recently signed the High Flyers, Jumpin', Jim Brunzell, and Greg Gagne, and folks, there's more coming on board. So run, don't walk to your keyboard, get on that computer, check the WFIA.org website and our Facebook page to see when these guys are going to be scheduled and their prices. Folks, if you are not a WFIA member, you will be paying an additional fee. So go to the WFIA.org today and register, become a member, and enjoy the podcast.
Everybody, Pro Wrestling Wire Radio here. This is Rick Del Santo, and you're watching us on AIWF Network, WON Sports, YouTube, and Apple, Spotify, and everywhere else you could find your podcasts and pro wrestling news outlets. I'm joined, of course, as always, by Uncle Otis, and we have a very special guest, the legendary Beast of New England, Bull Dredd. What's going on?
Hey, listen, I'm here with you guys, as always, came prepared, and what's this, about the dozenth time we've done this, and we always have a great time, right?
Yeah, you're definitely up there as far as one of the people that have been part of the show more than anybody. You, Big Daddy, Matt DeCourt, so yeah, you guys have been up here the most.
Maybe the two of you should interview me instead.
It's like, for somebody that doesn't like to talk or, like silence, I like to talk about wrestling in my career. And, when you have hosts that you can actually have a great conversation with, the hour just goes by and you can talk for hours.
Yeah. Of course, we've become quite the good friends, I think, over the last 5 or so years, and I'd have to say, and through the scene out here in the Southern Connecticut area, and you've got a lot of really great things that have gone on in the last few years, especially there was COVID, and you've worked, I think during COVID you worked a match with Jim Anderson, an empty arena match, right? Was that during that time? Yeah, I think we spoke about that a long time ago.
Yeah, that was it's going to be 5 years. I think I think next month, where I had my first match in PAPW, where I came back, and as you always told me, like, oh my God, Dredd's still here, Dredd's here, like,
yeah,
and, we crossed paths back in ACW, and it's amazing how quick 5 years just passed by fast. A lot's happened. Yeah. I'm very open about it. I've had more fun in the last 5 years on this run than I've had in the previous, time of my career. I'm not saying I didn't have a great time. I've had a lot of experiences, and it just this past run, because I got myself in great shape. Two, got myself out there. Three, I didn't know how well known I was, and it's some at a different time of my life and career.
Yeah, I remember the time that you're referring to is that a PAPW event, that probably one of my first PAPW events I've gone to. And when you came out, I was like, "Holy shit, Bull Dredd!" Like it's a name that I hadn't heard in quite some time, because honestly, I was not. I didn't go to a lot of shows for like a certain period of time, for probably about a good 5-year period, and then once you came out, and I literally text my friend, I said, "Holy shit, Bull Dredd is wrestling tonight," and it's like, wow, it was just it brought up a good memory of years prior. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was in a time where I was just lost in my career. I was working for Northeast and at the time, and kind of feels like 10 years, a decade of my career kind of just got thrown to the side and kind of forgotten about. So I kind of found myself lost. And Big Daddy always encouraging me to come to PAPW, even Mario. But there's a very dangerous thing in this business and in life, and it's called loyalty. You could be loyal to somebody for so long. It's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. And I was loyal to a fault, and to the point where I got thrown to the side and not being used anymore. And I actually got told I can't work and I can't get booked anymore for posts. I was putting stuff up there and fans were complaining, which I just thought it was an inside job. It was an easy excuse to get me out. But getting that booking kind of ignited my run. That's what I needed. And, went from there, from TOS, and COVID hit and kind of just jump started the 5-year run I've had. So I got no
Yeah, I mean, you've captured gold in a couple different companies, and had an incredible run. I mean, you were was the United States champion in Paradise Alley for quite some time too.
Yeah.
Or the Intercontinental, excuse me. And you had the huge feud with Maxim Morozov, where you had the. Did we ever talk about that in the past? I don't know. It's been a while since you've been on here, but yeah. Because you had that great like Russian chain match with him in the match. That was a lot of fun. I think I have Otis. I might have it recorded from my phone on the YouTube.
You do. You actually sent it to me, and I enjoyed the shit out of that match. I really did. I thought that you and
Morozov.
Lou, all right, Morozov.
Who's Lou?
Who's Lou?
Yeah.
I thought that was an amazing match. Really, the two of you were on point with everything, and it was just really enjoyable. But the thing that I hate about a really good match is it always goes by so quickly. Like kind of like you were saying about with when you're talking with friends and stuff, and and it goes at the hour, just bang, all of a sudden it's gone, and that's how it was watching the match. And I have to be completely honest. I remembered your name because I was one of these. I was a fanboy of the commercial. I call WWE and those commercial. Wrestling, because I don't know. It's kind of like when you listen to rock and roll these days. You can tell if it's good garage music or commercial music. You know what I mean? And the stuff that I watched was I was just your typical fanboy, and I didn't know anything really at all about independence, but I remembered your name, so I had started. When I met you, I was like, it killed me that I couldn't put the name with the face, but then now I understand why, because when I started going back and looking at some of your matches, you were heavier. You weren't as in good a shape as you are now. You're probably in the best shape of your life, really. And you just looked different because your beard was much shorter. You just looked different. And
I wasn't as tatted. I wasn't fully tatted like I am. So,
so you were just very different. I had also watched a match which blew me away. I was almost... I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking about it because of the beating that they gave you. and that was that when you were with Jamie Payne and you went up against Ron Zombie and New Jack.
Yeah.
And they brought the barbed wire in, and they had the chairs with the chair outside. There was a couple of like futon chairs or some kind of chairs that had barbed wire in the seat wrapped in it, and it was like I didn't see you move when you were underneath that piece of plywood with the barbed wire on it for probably 3 minutes at least. And I was like, my God, they're beating the snot out of him. Somebody get in there and stop this. I all of a sudden I went 100% Mark. I was like, I was really worried and I was uptight that they were doing that to you. And I had such a dislike after watching that because I follow Ron. And I was like, I wanted to so bad get on his Facebook page and say, I can't believe you did that to my buddy. I was just uptight about it, but you're a big guy and you can take care of yourself. And I know that it was a good work. It was a good match. And I enjoyed it until I started getting marked out on it. You know what I mean?
Well, that means that shows like how well of a job that they did if you're getting lost in the
exactly
in the match.
Well, I mean, like going back to that time, I don't know, Rick, I don't know if you were there at that time or following the storyline at that time, but we came up. Jason came up with the storyline that I was Jason's top student. I was his heart. And I turned on him and I went with Mike Milano and we started La Familia. And I didn't know the beating at the end was going to happen. I guess they just went on and called it on the fly like that. But they needed to take me out because the storyline was, they wanted to take me out. And I was getting married 3 weeks later. So we needed something to take me out. Ron was fine. Ron was light. Didn't feel anything from him. Jason, did the kendo stick. I think he hit me with like 30 times. He didn't really feel anything. He was okay. Who stiffed me was New Jack because he went off the top rope and landed full body on me. And obviously I didn't know who hit me till I watched the video. I was like, what the fuck was that? Like I was hurting. And on top of it being tangled up in the barbed wire, which was real barbed wire, obviously, I got to the back and, and first thing New Jack said to me was, I don't know what you did to piss off the boss. I was like, no, nothing. I was like, I'm getting married. And Jason, it was a very strict budget at that time. And Jason asked me, he's like, hey, are we going to make it? I didn't invite anybody from the business, But and once I got home and I had a shower, everything was burning because I had scratches all over. But that was all. I guess that storyline, and to make it believable like that all these years later, it stands the test of time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I hear New Jack was kind of like that a lot, though, wasn't he?
He was good. He
didn't care if he was stiffing somebody, though, right?
That was all work, but he treated me well. That was the only interaction we did, anything in the ring. I didn't really work with him, but I could say I survived being New Jack. But from what I remember, because I met him a couple times, he was always good. He was always cool. It's, obviously, I'm sure he would take care of you if you respected him. I guess if you questioned, and like stuff you see on documentaries, if you rubbed him the wrong way or said anything the wrong way, or he would fucking hurt you. But me being Jason's student, I'm sure he had that level of respect for me.
Yeah, I've encountered New Jack in the past, or I have in the during the ECW times. He was, I guess you could say, he was a unique individual, but he was very friendly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He was.
So
I remember.
Yeah. And I'm going back, I remember there was an ECW show, I think at the Westchester Center, the county center, whatever it was called. And I guess, fans got into a fight, and then, when the cops were coming to shut down the show or whatever, and he was standing right next to us, like, yo, man, the cops are coming. You guys got to get out. You got to get out. He escorted us out of the building. So make
Yeah, I
sure
remember.
none of us get in trouble. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I mean, and now that you see Jason wants to have a 25 ACW reunion next year, and I'm like, wow, it's been 25. It's gonna be 25 years, since I started. So, uh,
they used to run was the Portuguese Center in Nogata? Was that the
that was
place they used to run?
that was
Was it
DPW.
DPW? Okay.
Yeah, then I know Acid ran out of there before Jason started ACW, which started running out of the MIC club in Meriden, which I don't
Okay.
even think there anymore.
That was that the one that was Joel Gertner owned in
No,
Meriden, or was that MXW? What was
no.
that?
Oh, he ran out of Wallingford.
Wallingford. Okay.
Yeah,
I used to go to those shows. I was trying to remember what that one was. Yeah.
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 Good Lord, Kevin. Look at that thing. Yo, Chris, come here. Look at this. You
Oh,
see
that's
that?
huge,
Dude.
man. That might be the biggest one I've ever
I
seen.
know,
Yeah,
right?
Look at this.
Look.
That's huge, man.
It's like a baby's arm, man.
Yeah,
too, man.
Yeah, I know. That's nice, man. What can I say, guys?
George, come check this out, man. Check that
You
out.
gotta see this.
What is all the? Oh my gosh! That's right. It's the King's hot dog.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, the rumors are true. The King Dog, 14 inches of pure beef.
So, Otis, you got anything else for the time being?
No, I was like I said, I was doing a little homework, watching some of the different videos. I watched one where Bull took on Youssef, which was that was a good match. I think he was new to the game at the time you put him over. I
Yeah,
saw
I told the promoter, I'm like, listen, we had a first encounter. It was a no contest, and I called him. I'm like, listen, I'm gonna come up there and I want to help the kid get over. Like, let me put him over. And we had the speech right after, and people didn't remember me losing. They just remembered me putting the kid over at the end, in a speech, and it brought us together. And obviously that was his last show after that anyway. So yeah, it's all about giving back now for me. I mean, I'm established, so why am I going to bury anybody? I just wish you could see. I wish you could check out and watch a lot of my NEW stuff that I've done, but you have to like subscribe now or whatever. I got everything on DVD.
I think a lot of it's on. Well, they're uploading stuff to Amazon, I believe. NEW. They started a subscription service through Amazon Prime or whatever it is.
and they're going to start showing some old school stuff then.
Older stuff, newer,
Yeah.
like current event. They do the current live streams, etc. Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, like I told you, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, just like how I told you this morning, it was a part of my past that I made peace with, and I wanted to go back, but I kind of feel it's too late now, and I kind of feel like, I don't know if I had told you, I kind of feel like the Cody Rhodes story in a way where, you're stuck somewhere, but you have to go make your worth and just get out there. I kind of feel that's what I did. And now that I'm kind of all over kind of Connecticut, like, what the hell do I have to go back there for?
Yeah. Well, do you mind me quoting what you said this morning? You felt like you had basically closed the story, basically that you don't care about going back anymore, or that you closed the chapter this morning for the most part.
Because I was holding so long. You don't need to know what's going on in my career and my life if you're kind of just overlooking me now at this point. So, would have I wanted to? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I say that now. If I were to get a phone call, hey, would you like to do a show or whatever? I would have wanted to reunite with Ron, but
yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think there'd be a lot of fan interest from the area as well. So, you know what I mean? These you two guys are, two legends from our area, very well known, well loved from the fans in this area.
Yeah, I'm getting it more and more now. I don't like to take compliments, but you don't see, everything we do in life. For me, like I look at wrestling, and life runs very parallel to everything we do in life, and you don't see the journey. You don't see the effect you have on people while you're going through it. You see it when you stop and people start reflecting on it, and you start reflecting on the past and the journey. I'm like, wow, okay. We'll bring stuff up like what you said, and I'm like, damn, I don't know. I would have never saw myself. I never foresaw myself to be where I am right now, and I
It
don't want to.
makes a
But
lot of sense what you just said, because it's, you created memories for a lot of people, and that's what they're reflecting on now, is the memories, saying, I've been watching this guy for 15 years or whatever, and it's got to be cool for somebody like you that's been in the business as long as you have, to know that you have created memories for people, and it's just so important when you are somebody who's in the spotlight. You want to make sure that those memories that you create are something that people can literally take to the grave, that they remember you, remember what you stood for, remember what you did and who you did it with or to, or, all these things, they all are a part of your makeup and who is Bull Dredd,
well, that's how I came up with living legacy. You know, uh, us as grown men, and people live their whole lives. They can live, and you could ask them, what is your legacy? What do you leave on this earth if you were to leave tomorrow? What affect you? What people remember you by? What blueprint have you laid down for your kids and people around you? How have you affected people? And many people can't even answer that. And I kind of feel like I said, by 40, I think as a man or woman, you should already establish what your legacy is. Or if not, you're 40 years behind. It's like, what have you done for the first 40 years of your life? I started wrestling when I was 26, and I came up with it from just writing and thought process, and I was like, I'm living my legacy, and I'm like, wow, I'm actually living my legacy right now, and that's how I came up with the living legacy, because I'm living the legacy that I'm going to leave for my kids, my friends, like you guys, and fans. And, like you said about I'm wrestling kids that grew up watching me. You guys are firsthand watching guys that grew up watching me. I'm wrestling them now, like Fly Noriega, uh, Brad Baylor, Kylon. I worked a few years ago. What's his name? That broke his leg. That broke his ankle.
Oh, Gibbs.
Gibbs.
Yeah, Gibbs. Yep. Yeah.
Like I'm coming across a lot more people now that are like, yeah, I grew up watching you, and and then now like I'm in the business with them, and they're either going to be in or working with me, or I'm like, damn. So I feel old.
Well,
You know what I mean?
you're really blessed though, Bull, because a lot of people they don't get a chance really, or their chance to leave a legacy can pass by them. Like for me, mine was really just a fleeting, how people say, "Oh, I've had my 15 minutes of fame" type of thing. When I was working at a local radio station, and I was a sidekick basically on the morning show, I didn't think anything of it. And then when I went to like my old neighborhood, everybody, was like, "Oh man, I can't believe that you're on the radio," and and it was like, wow, I didn't even know that anybody, heard me really, for lack of, any explanation. And you have been able to take that legacy and not just deliver it, but live it. And that's a big thing. That's really big. And my hat off to you if I was wearing one, because especially after getting to know you, I truly can say I love you, man, like a brother. You've been very good to me. You're very respectful to me, and I love the person that you are without blowing too much smoke up your skirt.
Well, I mean, I love you both, and what's important is it's the person behind the character that's more important than the character we play in the ring. What you bring to the business is what people are going to remember you by. Fans, people in the business, and I hope that my legacy, at least, this was my passion. Not only did I raise my family and you know, pursue a wrestling career, I maintained my full-time job doing this, which is unheard of.
Right.
It's unheard of. People don't, you see, like, people still ask me and they come up to me and they think I live this type of lifestyle. Like, I'm a wrestler, they're starstruck, and I make this money. I'm like, I'm in pain every day. And the only way for me to not be in pain is I got to keep myself going. I still got to go to work in the morning. We all have jobs. I mean, but people don't see the work that goes in outside. What keeps me going? Like you asked me, what was it, yesterday or the day before, Rick? You asked me, what keeps me going?
Yeah.
I love first of all, my love of, performing. And two, keeping myself healthy. I want to stay healthy. I mean, I have to start kind of shading in or finding other outlets now of keeping myself active once I decide that, when my last match is going to be. And, and that's still up in the air right now. It all depends on how I feel.
I came to you with that question for, particular reasons out, honestly, because it's like, I work for obviously several different companies as a play-by-play man, and I feel like there's people that I have been working for a long time and people that I work for a short time that it's very confusing. And I was kind of second guessing a lot of stuff. And I've been like, you being in the business for 23 years, going on 25, so you're going to another couple of years before you retire. Because I felt like there was nobody better to come to for advice. You know what I mean? When I had a little bit of doubt about my own career in professional wrestling.
You're always going to have that one person that's going to inspire you. Like, I was down in the dumps, and Pete, Von Schmidt that you interviewed, one of my best.
Yeah, that interview is now up on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. Thanks. Cheap plug. There you go.
It was like, y'all get invested in drama.
Yes.
All let drama get to us, and I've a part of it. And, I had, he reminded me, he goes, "You're fucking Bull Dredd, man." And I would let other people that have done nothing in this business really kind of let them affect. I would get angry, I'm like, I would voice what people are doing wrong. And I had to learn. I'm like, stop pointing out what people are doing wrong. They're going to burn themselves out. Focus on what I love to do. And a lot of those naysayers really have done nothing now. And what I've done, continue performing. And in order to, if you want to be relevant 20 years later, be fucking relevant for the first 20.
Yeah.
Have something that people remember you by. Example, you coming to the PAPW show 5 years ago, and here I come out.
Yeah.
Example, you know what I mean? That's the effect you need to leave on people.
And I remember that there was one show I was waiting in line outside, and you came out. You were saying hi to like a lot of people. You saw me in the back. Hey, Rick, how's it going? And that same night, I have a video of you coming around, going like you do, going around the ring. This is at the Annex, if you remember when they were booking at the Annex, and you hugging and kissing my son on the forehead. And that video resurfaces at least once a year. You know what I mean? That video. And that video to me means a lot, because it's just like, you had a connection with a fan, and my son was literally standing up at the barricade cheering for you. He probably had no clue who you were at the time. Jamie was probably 3 or 4 years old at the time, maybe. So, and now he's going to be 9 in just about 4 weeks. So, and now he knows who the hell you are after all this time. And to me, it was probably more so special to me at that very moment than realized, really. You know what I mean? And it just that was just an awesome time for me. And I that building actually was a very cool building. I thought that JPW was booking, and then COVID happened, and then they lost that building because of COVID. And I just remember being there while COVID was starting, and it was so freaking weird. People wearing masks. That was like the first show people were wearing masks, and there was hand sanitizer everywhere. They were sanitizing the ring ropes between matches and stuff like that. So bizarre, but and then to see how far we've come since then.
COVID, I feel, is and I think we could agree on it. COVID was the worst thing, but the best thing to happen.
It relaunched a lot. It relaunched a lot of interest in a lot of weird things,
Yeah, I feel like, the most simple things in life that people kind of took for granted. I got the best shape of my life. People were complaining about the gym being closed, so they stayed on the couch being fat. I fucking went out to the track, went for walks. I did push-ups, and I started my fasting. And what? 5 years later now, is COVID still a thing? But like I said, it struck a lot of interest in a lot of things. I think now there's live streaming. I think it started that. We can watch movies from home now instead of going to the movies. But I don't want to get off track. But it's something that passed, and I think it was, for me, probably the best thing that happened, because you really have to go down deep, and like really, you change your lifestyle. I mean, I feel,
the independent. I'm sorry.
The independent scene was flourishing beforehand. Independent, like wrestling, was changing, becoming something. The indies were becoming bigger before that. Then COVID happened. It killed a lot of the indies. But post-COVID, I feel like independent wrestling like really shot up, and interest in wrestling outside of the mainstream really took hold. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I was going to say that, for me, I used to, go to the movies often and go to ball games and things like that. And I didn't mind concerts, crowds and whatever. And then COVID happened, and actually independent wrestling is the first thing that I started doing after COVID calmed down, out in public amongst people. And I was looking for something to do with my buddy, and I wanted to do something where I didn't think the crowd would be thousands of people. I wanted to do something that was a little more intimate, but I don't know. I just wanted to get out again. And we just happened to see that there was a show at PAPW. That was my first show that I went to. And actually, I posted a picture I took of you at that show. You were wearing a Beast shirt. And that was the start for me with independence, because as I said before many times on podcasts and stuff, I didn't even know anything about the independent circuit. When I lived in Texas, I met a couple of guys that were jobbers years ago, like the Georgia Strongman and stuff like that. Just some guys that were, when I lived in Texas, and when they come through the Freeman Coliseum or something, for house shows, for dark shows, whatever. And I didn't really know anything about it. I just was strictly one of these fanboys that was watching, the WWE kind of stuff, and that was about it. And then when I saw that PAPW was like in my backyard, I was like, holy shit, this was so awesome. I had something to do with my $20 a week or whatever, because before that it was like play poker at my buddy's house for $20 buy-in. Now I get to go and see a show, and I'm not worried about COVID because, it's calmed down, and it just turned out to be something that I really enjoyed. And it just kind of flourished from there for me, where I was like, this is something I want to do. I want to get involved one way or another.
Well, now you see that 90% of everybody you see on TV, that we all started the same. This is where everybody started, and people forget where they come from. I feel that a lot of the super independents now, I mean, Rick, like we talk about it all the time. Yeah. I feel that a lot of the independents, a lot of the super independents kind of has taken the entertainment out of what the business should be. I don't watch it. I kind of feel like it takes opportunities away from guys and vets like myself.
Yeah, we can mention that here. I mean, there's a lot of shows. I mean, without mentioning names, there's a lot of groups that just want to focus here about the super indie guys, the guys that are flipping and flopping, and there's no psychology to a lot of the action. And I don't, like I said, I'm not going to mention names. They'll listen to this, they'll probably get upset if I do because they know who I'm talking about. But there's like the wannabe beyond wrestling and all that other stuff, and it's like it's not that I don't have any respect for these performers, because there are a lot of them I do, and it's just that
You like storyline.
I like storylines. I'm a less is more person.
Mm.
This is why Dredd and I have always referred to watching a lot of the old NWA stuff from the 80s. It's a 2-year buildup before the blow off type, with like Magnum TA and Tully Blanchard in a steel cage. You know what I mean? It's just less is more. You don't have to go out there, and you need to get the fans invested in the match. And I think that when these guys are out there, it's not dramatic enough when they're flipping and flopping, jumping, like climbing up the rafters and diving off or what have you. It's, they're putting more so their body at risk than, to me, I'm not getting invested in that. I like the drama of watching two guys go at it in a less is more situation.
Right.
Everybody's goal in this business is to what?
Get on TV.
Where do they want to make it?
They want to get on TV. WWE, AEW, okay. As long as they're making, as long as they're able to pay their bills, buy a house, buy a car, all that stuff, support their families, what have you.
Like I said, I have nothing but respect for everyone. The everybody in the business and people running or doing a show, because it's not easy to put together a show.
And it costs a lot of money.
Yeah,
that's the other thing.
But there's a lot more, and like I said, I won't hold back. If you look around, there's more non-talent promoters than there are people that were actually in the business as a worker. For say Mario, Paul, Slick, TOS,
fans basically is what you're saying. They decide to put on a show.
Well, there's like marks. There's three different. There's versions of how do you say it. People make it derogatory. No, but that's what it is. There's a fan. We're marks. I'm a mark. Whatever. But there's a fucking mark. Then you got the fucking mark that hangs around with people in the business. Then they think they're in the business. Then they start running their own show. That's what happens, and I've seen it for 2.5 decades. It's not going to end. But go watch the match you were there, me and Brad Baylor from one of the last shows we did at JCC.
The JCC, yep.
We'll get into the JCC in a minute. It was total psychology of how I put that match together. Okay, pinpointing out Brad Baylor's strengths over mine. And we've talked about this. What are his strengths over mine? He's younger, stronger, and faster. So I pinpointed that out right away in our match within the first 3 minutes. And we did nothing. And how I took him out, he took one bump and I gave him a shoulder tackle and he powdered. At the end of that match, Mario comes to me and he goes, "That was the best match of the night." And I wasn't even supposed to be on the show because I got forgotten about. You know what I mean? Until Mario was like, "I want Dredd on the show." And I had the best match of the night because it had psychology. Anyway, but to go back to psychology, that's what's missing. I feel a lot of guys, like I said, the promoters are putting shows on for themselves.
Yeah.
What they want to see.
They're putting on dream matches. They're putting on dream matches that they want to see.
The dream matches are only going to last for so long.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I tell people in the locker room now, and I tell everybody, look around. 90, 50, 60%, I could be wrong. I don't know. Like I said, I look through I look at the business through my perspective in my career. Half of you guys are not going to make 20 years in this business because, one, you're going to get discouraged that you're not getting to where you want to be. Two,
Yes.
you're going to fall like, I don't want to, you're going to get discouraged and you're going to quit, because you think you're better than you are. But it's going to get a point where you plateau, and it's like, it's happened to me. Why do you think I've lasted for so long? I could outdraw some people. There's a difference between being over and being popular, even though it's pretty much the same thing.
We talk about, yeah. Can we talk about something? We had hinted at the idea of putting a movie together, putting a documentary together.
Documentary.
Yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit, because it's not we didn't necessarily put it on the back burner. We're just collecting information. I have a whole list of people, and I had volunteered to assist and help produce this production. It's something that I'm looking forward to, as you have roughly, I don't know, 2 or so years before you want to make the 25 mark before you retire. And 2 years, it's going to go by a lot faster than you could imagine. Would you have any idea as to who you would want to be your final opponent?
See, it's really hard because, me and Zombie, we were better together than against each other.
Right.
We got it, but he lives out in Georgia.
Right.
If I were to go back to NEW, like, I would want to have one last match at every company that I was currently working for at the time, that on or whatever. If I was going back to NEW, it would have been Brian Anthony, but he is now retired. I really don't know. I mean, I think at this point, even Lou Jacobs hinted, he wanted to be my last match, have a hardcore match or something, and he kind of caught me off guard. I was like, I didn't really want to talk about it at that time. I was like, yeah,
right.
Okay. I'm like, man, it's not because I didn't want to talk about it or let's do it. It's more of man, reality is setting in.
There's also a history there between you two. He was Maxim Morozov in PAPW.
Yeah.
So there is a history. Yeah.
I've had, like I said, the run I've had over the past 5 years has been, just a lot more. Like I started really finally feeling like a professional wrestler. Being a weekend warrior. Like, there was time where I was working almost every weekend. I couldn't wait to be home. But I've been home. I've had no shows for the past. This weekend was my 3rd weekend. Nothing. Maybe my 4th. So a month off. And then Saturday, I have a double booking.
Yeah, you have 2 shows. I got 2. I got them right in front of me. If you want to talk about them now, I got them right here in front of me. You're going to be in a tag match with Cade Lothrock against the Pyramids of Power at 2TW.
Yeah, well, the Pyramids of Power, we have a lot of history, and I got a couple this week. But Cade and I both agreed that we are better together because we have our feud and we finish it. I'm like, all right, where do we go from here? We got the 2 biggest. I said to Cade, and I was straight up honest. I'm like, dude, you're better than me. You're bigger than me. You're stronger than me. I wanted to get him over. You know what I mean? I didn't need to win the match. Right. So, behind the scene, we came up or whatever. We're better together than we are going against each other. And, the PLP, we have plenty of history. And I love working with them. At first, I was like, but they've gotten better. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it'll be fun because we gotta do our match first. As long as the show starts on time, then I gotta drive an hour to the brewery, and I'm working Sylvan, and PAPW's students, and it'll be our 2nd match. And I don't like the rush. I don't. But at the end of the night, I'm like, all right, it's over. I had my fun. Wake up Sunday morning. And depending on how I feel, I'll either relax, jerk off, and or go to the gym. I don't know.
Not necessarily in that order, though, right?
Not necessarily in that order, but
or at the same time.
Secondhand Heroes and Home for Wayward Villains is a comic book shop and gaming store that also features Magic the Gathering and D&D. Located at 18184 Leesville Road in Evington, Virginia, Secondhand Heroes is your one-stop shop for you to get your nerd on. Open 7 days a week at 11 a.m., they don't close until the dice stop rolling. They buy, sell, trade, barter, and haggle, specializing in collectible toys, both vintage and modern, comics, Magic the Gathering, video games, console, and arcade cabinets to play, all set to free play. Host your game night with us. Monday night D&D video game competitions, and so much more. Something for the collector and gamer in us all. Call 434-317-0121 or shoot us an email with any questions to secondhandheroesva@gmail.com. Note, secondhandheroesva@gmail.com. That's 2ND, handheroesva@gmail.com. Come game with us.
Let me ask you about working Sylvan, because I think that he's somebody that's like vastly improved since his debut. He's had some a pretty decent match against Ryan Frost. He is the 2024 King of Paradise as well. And we had interviewed him about 2-3 months ago now, and I think he's a very interesting character as well. And he's a great guy on top of it. So I think that this is a match that I would really like to check out. Hoping that I'm able to make it here. There's fireworks being held here in the town that I live in. However, I heard that there's also supposed to be really bad weather, so we'll see what happens.
There may be no fireworks or wrestling.
Yes, exactly. 'Cause it's supposed to be an outdoor show. Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, bad weather, okay, good. But then it's like, fuck, I really wanted to work. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Sylvan, our first match, it was kind of. I get nervous, especially, my anxiety working with somebody either that I have never worked with before, or or especially somebody like I knew what I was expecting with him our first, and it got off. I mean, it went well. It was more for him. Like I wanted him to learn. I gave him pointers of like what his characters I feel what he should be doing as a heel, and I have to go about this match a little differently now. Obviously because he's improved, but I don't want to go about really differently than we did last time. And that's more of a compliment to him. But at the same time, I don't know. And I mean, listen, this is off script and everything. I don't know if it's going to be leading to anything to me and Marcel Williams. You know what I mean? So I don't know if there's going to be any play from that going into that. So.
Oh, I want to ask you about that now that you're talking about Marcel. Former co-host here on this show many years ago, trying to get his ass back here. So if you're listening, Marcel, phone lines are open. All right. So you laid out a challenge to him, and he said, "Challenge accepted." Nothing has happened going forward. What's going on here? Is you plan on confronting him? He's not even on the show, right?
Yeah. Well, here's the deal, and we've talked about this, and I'm open about it. If I could wrestle every weekend, I would. If PAPW could go every weekend, I would work. I just dread to travel. You know what I mean? I don't want to. I just dread to travel, like an hour. Or now I got to go to Rhode Island in a couple weeks. But I would work every weekend, and if I was champion, I would work every weekend. Do I need the title? And that's what I meant. Like I don't need the title. Because a title ain't gonna make a difference to me if I have the title or not. But if I am a champion, it's what I bring to the title. I would elevate it more to where it should. Because who else in the company is going to be able to do that right now?
I mean, they got it's a lot of fresh blood there right now at the Paradise Alley, with the exception of Showtime or even Ryan Frost being in there. He's been around for a while, but he's still kind of fresh to the Paradise Alley as a professional wrestler.
Right. So my point of that was like I said, he already had talked to the higher anarchies, and it was already in place. And like I said, I didn't need the title. I want to make memories because this is what's important to me right now. I've made a lot more memories in this business than I've had money. And that's what it's about right now. If I can make a memory with him, if we have a great match, a good story, title or not, I feel that the PAPW World title, honestly, is probably the most prestigious title in New England because of who PAPW is owned by. And to be bestowed that if that were to happen on me. I mean, honestly, it's like I told Roman when I wished him a happy birthday, or even Mario. I grew up watching you, not working for you. You know, just like I did the storyline with Mooch. Roma gave us free reign of doing whatever we wanted. And I feel, as you guys, I mean, you guys watched that story unfold. How did you look at the story and how it unfolded between me being the veteran and somebody like Mooch, who came into the business a little after I did, but I kind of took him under my wing at one point myself, you know? I mean, what did you guys think of that story? To going now to where he's going to lead into another story into Frost and me I call him Mr. Williams, but, you know, to me and the Mr. Williams, I just hope it elevated him now.
Yeah, I think that it definitely did. I mean, was the I Quit match that you guys had, or Last Man Standing, whichever it was. I got fully invested in that match. I'm not gonna lie, because he was having some maneuver on you, choking you out or something, and you were like, "I'm sorry, Gemma," and I was like, "Holy fuck, no," because you were risking your career. And I thought you had kayfabed me just a little bit, and I literally jumped up and I was like, "This motherfucker like lied to me. He's gonna fucking quit right here." And so I got fully emotionally invested when you yelled that into the microphone. I mean, I was fully invested in the matchup, and you know what I mean. Like when that happened, I got a little bit emotional because it's like, you know, I'm friends with you, and I was just like, there's always a chance Mooch could be your last opponent. You know what I'm saying? Like he's been around a while. You guys have forged a friendship over the years, you know, and it was just really shocking until, you know, when you said that and then you actually came back. I was like, oh God, thank God! Like I sighed a breath of relief. You know what I mean?
A few things, and Otis, you know, I know you're listening too. Okay, you know, like I said, Roma gave us free range of the storyline, as many matches as we want. But at the same time, I didn't want the people to get bored.
Right.
Okay. Me versus Mr. Z. You know, Mooch couldn't make it that night.
Okay.
Give Mooch an idea. Cut a promo. Then cut 2 promos. The promo didn't get played in the beginning of the match. They messed up with whatever. I looked at Mr. Z and I put him to the side. Okay. And I told him, you guys remember Rocky 3? Of
course.
Rocky Balboa stepped in the ring with Thunder Lips. What happened? Like, if you recall, as soon as the bell rang, what happened?
He's looking up at him like he's 10 feet tall.
But what happened as soon as the bell rang?
Oh, he jumped at him. Or didn't he try to jump on his back and all that stuff? Yeah, because
and Balboa moved, right? Then they squared off.
Yeah.
That's how I came up with that scenario for that match.
Okay.
That as the foundation. Rocky 5. People don't like Rocky 5. I feel it's a great movie.
Okay, hold on. Before you go further, I'm glad you said that, because I feel like it is a terribly underrated movie, because storyline wise, it's very emotional and it's a very amazing story. People are mad because it just does not have any fights in ring and et cetera, and they claim that it sucks. I argue with people over how good Rocky 5 actually is. Storyline, it's fucking fantastic.
No, I gotta watch it.
Yes, oh man, dude.
Never seen it.
Psychology for both of you. You know what I mean? Like, I'll break it down for you. Rocky 5. At the end, when Rocky was getting his ass beat, okay? And this is where Gemma comes in. When Rocky was getting his ass beat and he's laying down and he got knocked down, and the promoter was taking Tommy Gunn away. And then Rocky was replaying, you know, Mickey, you know, being alive. Get up, you son of a bitch, because Mickey loves you. To me, that's what gave me the idea for when Mooch got me in the STF, where I couldn't. That really started to hurt because I can't bend my left knee. So he could only get down so much. That's why he couldn't get both hands on the grip on the kendo stick, because I couldn't bend it. Mm-hmm. That's how I came up with Gemma. I'm going to sell it, but once I start saying, Gemma, I'm sorry, you know, I wanted the suspense of people really thinking, like you.
Is he going to do it?
I was about to give it up. And I wanted Gemma to be like, no, we need you. We love you. Please, no. That's what I wanted from her. And I was able to kind of maneuver. It's starting to hurt me a little bit. And I kind of maneuvered and I got out of it. And there you go. I mean, you use ideas of, you kind of bring it to wrestling. And like you said about, Rocky Five is very underrated because what's important is the story.
Exactly.
And psychology is, we all watch good movies, we watch crime movies and, funny movies. I like horror. But if you could visualize any movie that you like, okay, the first scene is always happy. Something's always like very happy. That's how it starts off. And to me, that's the shine. That's the shine. The good guys are on top until the first body is found. Okay? That's the heat. The heat's on. And every time they get a clue, they think they know who the suspect is. That's a hope spot. Until it happens, until they find out who the suspect is and they're focused on and they're after him. They know who it is. Here's the comeback. Okay? And every time they catch him and he gets away, it's a false finish until they finally catch him, and that's the end of the story. That's the end of the match. There you go. Shine, heat, comeback, finish. In every horror movie, when there's a sequel, a part 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5, every time the bad guy gets away, what do you think happens? The story continues. Okay? So until like if a good guy wins and the guy cuts him off, whatever, that's psychology. So here you're talking about Rocky 5 and people saying it's underrated. What's important was the story.
Right.
That's what's important. And that's what's missing. That's what's missing in a lot of independent wrestling.
Yeah.
I agree.
We've got
bitter if I'm talking about it. That's why I'm kind of like, whatever. I'm still happy to do what I'm doing right now. Involved. People are going to burn out on their own.
Yeah, we've got about 10 minutes left. To be honest, with the before we got to cut it short or cut it off. So
I might rub a third one out.
Otis, do you have anything that you want to throw at Mr. Dredd here?
No, I do want to. I think I need to come pay him a visit at some time because I want to sit down and watch some of these DVDs he's got, because you can only find so much on YouTube, and I know I'm missing out. And I really want to be able to see some stuff. It's different when you know somebody. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing for me to sit here and enjoy watching a Cody Rhodes match, but I don't know him from Adam. And knowing Bull on a personal level, it makes me really want to find more stuff to see. And he's holding out. Bull, you're holding out. You got
it's not his fault.
He's got all the DVDs at his house, and I want to come and see them now. So
now
I'm going to take you up on that barbecue thing.
Now we should have a barbecue roundtable. You say what I'm saying?
That would be awesome.
That's what we should do. Have Matt DeCourt, have a Mario. I mean, that's what should happen because we've done it once. But then I say to myself, who the fuck am I?
You're Bull Dredd. Don't ever forget it, bro.
Don't ever sell yourself short. People know you. There's people like you mentioned his name earlier and when you met him, when you met Fly Nine Noriega in the ring, he literally posted about you and how he got to wrestle a New England legend that evening, and he really put you over on his social media post. And that's not the only person that's done that, but that's just an example of people are glad to have you around, and people grew up watching you, and they're very happy. So don't ever sell yourself like short. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, even Frost has come to me for advice, and I kind of broke some stuff down for him. But you know the story with Fly and myself, right, from the match at the Armada.
Yeah.
Okay, you know the backstory to that.
Yes.
Left. Otis, do you know that or no?
No, I don't think so.
I'll make it quick. I'm working Fly, and Roma told him he wants us to go to full 15, 20, and he left it up to me. He goes, to go over. And I said to Fly, I'm like, dude, I don't. Me going over not going to do anything for you. I mean, I doesn't care. I'll put you over, but I want it to make sense in your character. If I get screwed or whatever. And here we go. His career lies solely in my hands. People, he posted about it the next day, and people were like, last night I beat a New England legend, and went on with his character. But if people only knew what I did, because I wanted to raise his character. Me beating him, what was they going to do? People popped just when me getting announced as a New England legend. He won. He pinned me 1, 2, 3. He left. I'm standing in the middle of the ring. All I had to do was raise my arm. People still popped. That's what they remember.
Yeah.
So it's not about me. It's not about me anymore. I mean, do I love winning? Yeah, but I want to give back. And
well, that would bring me to one of the ending questions that I would have is, do you, when you decide that you've had enough with the ring, whether it be because you're tired of waking up in pain or whatever the reason may be, do you want to continue to give back by maybe being a consultant or maybe a manager for somebody in particular, or starting your own stable maybe, so that you're still, involved at shows and stuff?
I would love to. I mean, managing, I don't see myself as a manager because I'm going to want to be in the ring. As long as I can keep myself healthy, I'm going to be open to not fully be 100% retired. I would love to be, I'm not going to say a trainer, but like kind of like, like being not an assistant, but a mentor.
Yeah, like I was saying, a consultant, so to speak, like where you can
somebody that's around,
pass down some of your wisdom to the younger generation of wrestling.
Specialty and what I've studied is psychology. And Rick, we've talked about this too. And I'm going to quote it out there. How many times, if you've gotten in your life, or even just doing commentary, you ask somebody for their opinion, and and the only thing they say is, "Yeah, just keep doing what you're doing." To me, if somebody is able to break down and critique certain things, they paid attention and fucking cared.
I got to say that because of that, I'm very thankful to people like Nick Payne, you know what I mean, who will sit there, like, or Johnny Santos. Like, they have both said, you're really good, but you need to show a little bit more emotion. That's not wrong. I do need to show some emotion. I was actually compared to, like, say, kind of like Lance Russell. You don't raise your voice necessarily. You're sitting there, or like, I don't necessarily get emotionally involved. I'm calling it as a sport, like an old school sports commentator, but I'm not necessarily showing emotion. So I was like, I need to bounce up, raise my voice and stuff like that. And so from that, I have actually, I do study tape. So it's like to try to improve myself, and I study myself as well. And I got to tell you, there's times where I go back and I watch them, God, I suck here. But then there's other times I'm like, God, this is really, like, I did a really good job here. So a lot of times when I walk away from a show, I'm not necessarily feeling very confident in my abilities of like how I did that night. But then I'll watch it back, like when the tapes come back, and I'll be like, holy shit, I actually was pretty good that night. You know what I mean?
Well, it's the same thing as a worker.
Yeah.
I rewatch my matches. I watch it during cardio, and you're doing good as a performer when you are catching yourself what you're critiquing yourself on while you're doing.
And don't forget, there's always, just like you being in the ring, me being whoever's sitting next to me. It all depends on your partner as well. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like who you're dancing with that night.
Well, I mean, like I said, I would have something I brought up to you. What I would want is, obviously, you would have to kind of take footage from YouTube, take some footage from an unknown source, and put your own, for practice, or even for users, for practice, to get yourself involved that way, start working on that stuff. Put some commentary on it, play by play. I hope. Would you rather commentate fireworks, or would you rather commentate a thunderstorm?
Yeah, similar, but yeah.
How can you commentate fireworks? Because it's constant on the go. How are you going to commentate a match that's 100 going 100 degrees, 100 miles an hour, if it doesn't have no psychology? You got to slow it down, etc. Whatever. But
and that's why I really, really appreciate the. I think I've told you, Rick, how like, we'll post a new potato, and then I'll get a message from from Bull, and he'll be like, a little critique for you, and then he'll give me some pointers, and I hope I'm doing you some justice, Bull, because I've been trying to. I'm trying to get better.
It's only going to take time, but like I said, there's times when people even cut promos. I'm like, dude, like, I've said it to certain people. I'm like, I still see the person that I talk to out in public. I don't see the amped up version of the character. So you have to go about it like you want to look like you're an interviewer on TV rather than somebody that's talking to somebody on the street.
Right.
Well, here's a point then for you. I actually today ordered 2 blazers, a blue one and a red one, or a burgundy one. So, and I'm going to start wearing a tie and a blazer.
So nobody sees only sees you from the waist up.
Yeah, yeah. I could wear short. I could be in my boxers if I want. It doesn't matter as long as they see me from the waist up with a blazer and a tie.
Yeah, because like I said, there's sometimes I still see Eric. I don't see Uncle Otis. Like I don't see the character out yet. You have to develop that. It comes with time. Yeah. Hey, Otis here with another potato. Here, brought to you by the Pro Wrestling Wire. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for checking us out. Here I'm with another episode with my special guest, Chris Mooch, in an undisclosed area. Don't know why. Oh, here he is. Mooch, why are we here?
I think my biggest issue has been, something that you've told me that I've taken to heart. Less is more. Like the more I think about and try and say, I end up, it's like diarrhea. It just keeps coming out and it doesn't make any sense. So I'm trying very hard to get the plug in for the PWW and the plugs in for the wrestler and where they're, about to be or where, what's going to happen, what this promo is all about. And then I'm trying to let the wrestler run with it from there. So, I appreciate that. And I look at Rick now, and I have to admit, Rick, when I first got to know you and I was watching listening to some of the matches that you had done, I was like, this man's got no emotion. And so you were right. But you have gotten so much better. I was listening to some of the NAW stuff that as of late.
Well, like I said, the other thing that I pointed out, it also depends on who you're dancing with. You know what I mean? Like
right. Matt DeCord is a great partner for dancing.
He's a phenomenal partner. Tommy Saban, another phenomenal partner.
Yes.
And then I had somebody else that I was not a fan of. I had another person I was not a fan of. I'll be nice and not mention either of their names, but God willing that I will never have to work with them ever again.
So that's the thing that then, but I appreciate everything that you helped me with, both, before we close. I just want you to know that. And I mean that from the heart, that you're really helping me out a lot. And I'm taking a lot of your advice to heart. Mooch gives me a lot of advice too. He's really good about that. And I appreciate all of it.
Mooch has been an integral part of PWW as of just a few weeks ago, helping a lot in the background. So, editing videos on occasion for us and making short little clips for us and stuff like that. And, he's been very helpful. So,
well, it makes this quick. He's the one that made my video, the Chitron, using my old, ACW, what I used that time, part of it going into the new, to fire it up. He made that video, and that's a lot of the original stuff. And
yeah, I'm sure he's good like that.
Yeah, he's been around. Even though he's been. So.
All right, guys, it's time to wrap it up. I want to Mike or Dredd, excuse me. I want to thank you very much for coming back here. I want to thank you very much for coming back here today. Well, why don't you show everybody your social media or tell everybody about it?
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, you want me to tell you?
Yeah. We want you to spread the word about you.
I'm on Instagram at BullDredd. I rarely don't use X or Twitter, but I'm under Michelangelo Kalo on Facebook. But I don't have a fan page. But I'm becoming a lot more private in my life. But the character is who I am now. If you could look back and say like who BullDredd was and who Mike was, if there's one word I hope you guys can sum it up with, passion.
Well, mine would have been friend.
Well,
but okay.
yes, that's what I want people to know. Legacy. That's what I'm going to be leaving behind right now.
All right. Thank you very much for coming on yet again. And of course, you've got about another couple times that you got to be coming back here. So thank you.